Hello, welcome. So we're going to be taking a little dive into r/best of Redditor updates today. Got one for you that's probably going to be infuriating, just a little bit, and horrifying. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in listening to today, then please do stick around and enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Thank you. Okay, so this one was shared to the subreddit by DirectCaterpillar77, and the post title is I25F posted a bunch of creepy texts guys have sent me onto Facebook and Instagram. Yes, my love, call them out. I'm going to guess they didn't take it very well though, did they? I've done this before, by the way. With the names and everything, I don't care. If you're going to be weird, then we're going to share. Share with the class. So, of course, Direct Caterpillar is not the original OP. Original OP is on the screen and where it was originally posted. We got trigger warnings for sexual harassment, hostile workplace threats, and verbal abuse. Yay! Originally posted September 21st, 2018. Let's get into it, shall we? I went to college for computer engineering and got a job in the industry afterwards. In college, my internships, and my job, I've dealt with sexual harassment, and I've had to get tough with people, telling them to stay the fuck away whenever I get the first whiff of sketchiness. Honestly, it's something as a woman you have to learn to do. It's so hard when you're younger, but I am literally at the point now where I'm just like, look, if you keep being creepy with me, I'm going to put your head in a toilet and flush. Every time I've gotten a creepy text or instant message from another student or co-worker, I've screenshotted it and backed it up in a Google Drive just in case it escalates. That's helped me a few times. When someone started to follow me around in college, and when someone took things so far at work that I decided to go to HR. I don't report most of the shit though. I don't want it to look bad like I'm always running to HR. Last night, I got really drunk with my friend because I had a day off planned for today. I went home in a kind of a bad mood because we'd been talking about how she was going through similar shit at work. I was in a fuck it all mood, and I uploaded my whole folder of screenshotted text messages to Facebook and Insta with the caption, phone and inbox of a female computer engineer, and tagged all the men who had sent me messages whose social media I could find. Some of the highlights were, brace yourselves, this is going to get real irritating, I imagine, by the way, a bunch of married men hitting on me and me replying, dude, you're married, or something along those lines. Some guys asking me out and then taking rejection badly. Tale as old as time, that. Some guys who would text me repeatedly even though I just replied, don't contact me, other than for work purposes. Sexually explicit messages or messages commenting on my appearance out of the blue. Overall, just messages from people ignoring my wishes to be left alone. This morning I woke up to my phone blowing up. I had planned to take a vacation day off work today. A lot of the guys I'd tagged in my social media posts had contacted me demanding or pleading that I remove the posts. Most everyone had untagged themselves. The Facebook post had gotten some attention from my friends, but my 2 Instagram posts, I had to make 2 to fit all of the photos, had blown up. I had a lot of new followers, a lot of strangers commenting on my posts, mostly supportive. I also had an email from HR at work asking to meet with them first thing Monday. I replied to say that I would. I don't know what to expect there at all. I have not replied to any of the other messages about my post. I bet any money HR tries to twist it round on her. Despite the fact that these dudes were being inappropriate despite being asked to stop. I need some advice. Should I speak to the guys who texted me about the post? Some are very angry with me because they are married and their wives found out. Boo-hoo! Don't go trying to sext a random woman behind your wife's back, you absolute piece of excrement. What's wrong with you? I'm thinking it's safest to not. Should I leave the posts up or remove them? I would leave them, but I mean, don't take it from me, I'm petty. Or wait to see how things go with HR before I decide. Should I be worried for my safety? I feel a little nervous, but I don't know if I'm overreacting. TLDR, I posted an album on social media, a collection of creepy texts I haven't gotten from men in my field of study and work. Edit to explain something. Quite a few of these men were not under my current company's control, such as classmates and a TA from college, men I knew from this summer's internship at different companies, and a guy from a past job. Out of the 4 people from my current job, 1, I reported him to HR actually, 2 and 3, married men who asked me out or hit on me outside of work hours and did not present a problem at work. That did not seem like HR's domain. 4, a guy who asked me out outside of work hours and got mildly passive-aggressive over text when I rejected him, but did not bring his bullshit into the office. Relevant comments. Frock of Seagulls says, ask HR what it's about. Can your social media be connected to your identity and job? OOP, my social media has my real name, but I have not mentioned my company or any of my past jobs or internships there. Commenter, 1. How are all these students and co-workers getting your cell number? 2. I didn't think it was possible to tag someone on Facebook if you weren't friends. If their profile is public, yes you can. Delete the post, do not speak with the guys, talk to HR and see where to go from there. OOP, not all of them contacted me by text. Some sent me messages on various instant messaging platforms I've needed for jobs or college classes. Out of the people who do have my number, a lot were students. It was very common in college to exchange numbers with your group for group projects, and some are employees at my current job, which involves travel. Because we do not have work cell phones, and it is easier to keep in touch with personal phones sometimes. You were right about Facebook. I added some people, mostly students and other interns, not current co-workers, before I knew them well. And when they turned out to be creepy, I kept them on Facebook to keep an eye on them. Like, to know that they're out of town and staying that way, for example. Like I say, if their profiles are public, you can usually tag them. Like, I don't know if you still can. I don't know if that's still a feature now, but I know in the past it has been on both Facebook and Instagram, because I used to get tagged in random posts from random weirdos that were trying to, like, advertise crap. Like, you know, spammy, scammy, where they'll just type in a random name and just tag you in it, basically. Yeah, that was a thing for a while. Does anyone remember that? That was really annoying. That is when I decided my profile was going private. So, we have an update, September 24th, 2018, 3 days later. To recap my last submission, I posted an album of creepy texts I'd received from men in my field, computer engineering. Some from classmates and a TA in college, some from people I met through internships and professional development activities, and some I know through my current job. I had been so fed up with the sense of shame and being silenced and not believed about sexual harassment. And for what it's worth, putting a large collection of harassing and threatening texts in the public eye, raw and unedited, made them difficult to ignore or explain away. After that post, I got a meeting invitation from the company's HR department for this Monday. A lot happened over the weekend. I did a lot of research into employment law. I read through the whole company handbook again, and for each person I mentioned in my social posts, I wrote up a detailed account of their behaviour towards me for my own reference. Stuff that had not been said over text. I also screenshot and backed up any angry or threatening text towards me that I received this weekend from the men whose old texts I'd posted online. I think it's worth giving some background on the 4 people included in my social media post that I knew from my current job. Co-worker 1. A few months ago, I had reported him to HR for sexual harassment in the past, and he was moved off my team to another position in the company where he would not have any contact with me. He had signed a paper saying that he must not contact me for any reason, whether that is work-related or not. I didn't sign anything during this process. The messages from him that I posted on Facebook were old texts from him to my personal phone, making a comment about how I looked nice at work and how I must have been dressing up for him. Retching violently. I'd replied that I was not. He asked me who I was dressing up for at work, if not him. Oh, I don't know. Maybe to look smart in the office? What are you on about? Because then he'd know who to be jealous of. Ew. I said myself and told him to stop texting me on my personal phone. A few days later, he sent me a message telling me my new hair colour was hot and asking me to drinks. That was a small snippet of the creepy things he sent me. There was plenty more that I didn't post. I found out today that he was the only one who showed HR my post, as I understand it. He had assumed that I had signed a similar no contact agreement that he had to. I had not ever made that agreement, in writing or vocally. I'd just not been talking to him because I had no desire to. Co-worker 2, he was married and in the office. He didn't seem to do anything out of line. He had my number since I would be travelling for work and wanted my team members to be able to contact me. We don't have work cell phones. Out of the blue, he texted me asking me to join him at a fancy seafood restaurant when I returned from my work trip. It sounded like a date. I texted back, you're married. And he said some shit about nobody would have to know. Ew, creepy. And how I seemed like a girl who could keep a secret. I told him to fuck off. Quite bloody right too. He was fired a week later for unrelated reasons, so while I'd been thinking about going to HR, I never did. I haven't heard from him since, even after my social media post. Co-worker 3. He was also married. One time I was at a work happy hour and I left pretty early. He texted me on my work instant messaging platform, which I have on my phone, asking me to go party with him. I asked, is your wife coming? And didn't get a response. I didn't think it was bad enough to report to HR as sexual harassment, because something usually has to be done repeatedly to qualify as harassment, unless it is something egregious. That was in the company handbook in less concise words. That text exchange was included in my post. After my post, he sent me a slew of threatening texts. Apparently his wife had seen the post and I had ruined his family. No, mate, you ruined your own family, love. Nothing to do with the OP. He said that I was about to get what was coming for me real soon and to watch out, which sounded like a threat. Also called me a couple homophobic slurs. I'm openly bisexual. Co-worker 4, he had just broken off an engagement. I didn't hear that from him, just through the rumour mill. He contacted me asking if I wanted to go out, and I said that he wasn't really my type to date. I love how this OP is just like, nope, cutthroat, no thank you, be gone. That's how you have to be. He said that he wasn't looking for anything serious, just casual sex. Ugh. I didn't reply for a few hours, and then he sent me a second text saying, well then go ahead and be a bitch and leave me on red. Wow, made to make yourself look very desperate. Since it happened outside of work and was not any kind of repeated harassment, I also didn't think that it would be reasonable to bring it to HR unless I saw a pattern of similar behaviour. He didn't contact me again, even after my post. As for the people from my past jobs, internships or classes, my college contacted me about my old TA who had tried to hook up with me repeatedly and stopped helping me with the course when it was clear he wasn't getting anywhere. They asked me if I'd give a statement. Apparently he was still doing that shit and someone else had reported him, and they saw from my post that I'd likely have something to report too. Ooh, hopefully he's going to get what's coming to him then. A married guy who tried to get with me when I was an intern at another company sent me some really angry and threatening text messages. I have to figure my Instagram post, with his public Instagram account tagged, caused problems in his marriage. I definitely have been taking extra steps to stay safe when I'm leaving my apartment or going anywhere. I'm considering reporting this to the police because it was the most overtly threatening thing I've received. A few other people I tagged sent me some text telling me how shit was to not keep private conversations private, etc. I ignored all of those. Ah yes, the private conversations where you act creepy and weird and expect to not be called out for it. As for what happened this morning in my HR meeting, I was all ready to go in with metaphorical guns blazing, defend everything I'd said or done with sources from the company handbook, such as how I did not violate the company's social media policy, as it only prohibited pretending to speak for the company as a whole if PR is not your job, or reveal confidential code or design or business contracts online. I didn't mention my company in my post or anywhere else on my social media. I was also ready to defend how I followed the guidelines of what is considered sexual harassment and should be reported, how I reported repeated harassment but didn't report isolated incidents because they were not extreme. The examples of extreme conduct included unwanted, overtly sexual touching or threats of violence. The handbook specifically mentioned that asking someone out once was not harassment, but the meeting ended up being much more low-key than I had been expecting. I'd taken down both posts by Sunday as an act of good faith, though I doubted that would matter much. When I went in, I sat down and asked if I could record the meeting. The HR representative, I'll call her Beth here, but that's not her real name, of course, said okay. She wanted to talk about each of the specific people I'd posted screenshots from who work at the company. Those made up less than a third of my screenshots, FYI. First was co-worker 1, the guy I had previously reported to HR and who had been moved to a different team and told that he must not speak to me or contact me. Beth said that he had brought the post to her attention, as he was under the impression that their no contact agreement went both ways. I reminded her that I had not entered into a written or verbal agreement. I was surprised it was him who brought it up, but I didn't say anything. She asked if there had been continued harassment or contact from him after my initial report. I said no. She moved on to the next quickly. Co-worker 2 had been fired a while back for unrelated reasons, but Beth still asked if there had been any further conflict between us while he was employed, other than the text messages. I said no. She asked me the same question about co-worker 3. I told her that I received texts from him on Saturday that came across as threatening and used several slurs about my sexuality. I gave her a printout of those messages. She read them and immediately stepped out to show them to a manager. She came back after a few minutes to continue talking with me. And again, for co-worker 4, I told her that he had not contacted me after he said I was a bitch for leaving him on red. Beth asked me if I had any questions, and I basically asked what her next steps would be. She said that she would have asked me to remove the post so that things could be handled with discretion. However, I had already removed the post prior to meeting. She also said that she would be meeting again with co-workers 1 and 4. She also said that due to co-worker 3's threatening comments, he had been escorted out of the building while we had been speaking, fired, and apparently he was already on record with them for another issue relating to his temper, and this was the last straw. See, I wish more places would take harassment, especially sexual harassment in the workplace, more seriously, and it was like an immediate disciplinary or firing or something, because so many less people would think they could get away with it. The fact that a lot of companies brush that stuff under the carpet is why people like that think they can get away with it in the first place. The more companies, and the world on a whole actually, wakes up and starts making an example of people who behave like that, the more things will start to get better. But let's be honest, that is a very idealistic way of thinking about things, and that's never going to bloody happen. She also asked me why I had not brought co-workers 2 and 3 and 4 to her attention before, and I cited the section on harassment from the company's handbook, saying that harassment was repeated unwanted comments or actions, and that a single event is not usually considered harassment unless it is extreme. The conversations with those 3 men had been isolated incidents. She asked me if I would be more comfortable taking a personal day for the rest of the day while she speaks to co-workers 1 and 4. She said she wanted to make it clear that I was not being dismissed or escorted out. I was not getting fired. It was only a precaution so that I would not be around co-workers 1 and 4 in case either of them wanted to confront me personally. I said I would. Perfect idea. Definitely, that's a good idea. Especially considering number 4 seems extremely unhinged. So, that's where I'm at right now. TLDR, had the meeting with HR. Relevant comments. Dave T says, I was surprised it was him who brought it up. Some people are incapable of conceiving of themselves as being in the wrong. The guy probably viewed his harassment of you as a mutual work disagreement that you both got in trouble for. He thinks conditions must have been placed on you because the conditions were placed on him. It's inconceivable to him that he was the aggressor and you the victim. No, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, exactly. Some people they just don't think. They think the sun shines out their arses. They can't see that actually they are vile. OOP then says, lol, you are very right in saying he saw it more as a mutual disagreement. Initially, he tried to claim that I was harassing him back for using profanity towards him like f off, and don't say that to me. The Superior Light Beer says, I mean, how else would the company handle it? Woman posts proof of being harassed. The only reasonable response is to follow up and deal with the harassment. I'm sure they would have preferred you print out the text and provide them to HR directly rather than blasting it on the internet, but that's really just a discretion thing. OOP then says, some of the things I put online were things that did not qualify as harassment by their policy, i.e. an isolated incident that is not extremely bad, so I didn't feel like I should have gone straight to them. I don't know, maybe they'll rethink what the threshold for something to qualify as harassment should be. So, down in the comments of the Best of Redditor Updates post, Damp Blanket says, if you're going to freak out when people find out about things you send to someone, maybe don't send them. And then Churiel says, Churiel? That was hard. Says, I think that one got me the most. The people that were arguing it was fucked up to reveal what was said in a private conversation. Not even an ounce of self-awareness from those people regarding how inappropriate it was to send messages like that in the first place. And then JPM, whose tagline, by the way, is now I have erect type dysfunction. I'd love to know what that's from. Says, it's only a private conversation if A, you are in private, and B, everyone agrees that your conversation will stay private. You don't get to cry foul when someone publishes your unsolicited and unwanted messages just because you don't want anyone to know. Okay, I think that's all we've got time for today. If you made it all the way to the end with me, then I appreciate you very, very much. If you give a little like, subscribe, turn your notifications on, that is your initiation into the Coven of Void. Welcome! Whatever it is you're doing for the day, I hope you're having a really good rest of the day. Goodbye! Oh, and by the way, some fun news. I have a new niece who was born on Halloween, by the way. How crazy is that? Like, literally yesterday, born on Halloween. How good is that? You're not supposed to have favourites, but I might have a favourite now. Anyway, bye!